You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation. Happy New Year. It's The Drive here on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you as it is January 1st, 2026. Matt, a new year, same us. How about that?
How about that?
That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm not one of these big, New Year's and resolutions.
No.
New Year, same me.
I mean, New Year's to me hasn't been a holiday forever. I mean, except for my daughter having a bunch of screaming young girls in the basement last night too late. And, oh, by the way, it's my mother-in-law's 80th birthday today, too. How cool is that?
Happy birthday.
How about that?
That's awesome.
But other than that, I mean, it's Thursday of week 18.
Exactly right. It is Thursday of week 18, and with that, there is plenty to get to. Ravens practice. Full transparency, we're recording the show a little bit earlier today because it is New Year's Day and a million things going on and all that. But
college games I want to watch.
Absolutely. Some going on right now. But the Ravens are practicing right now as you and I are doing this show. And Lamar Jackson is a full participant for the second straight day at Ravens practice. And according to, their boots on the ground reporters and people around the team and the organization, it looks like Lamar Jackson has been given a green light to start Sunday's AFC North title game clash against the Steelers.
So usually I record on Thursday, but we recorded it yesterday, the matchup show with Missy and Rob.
Yes.
So I was down at the facility yesterday, and I wasn't talking to coaches. What do you think? Blah, blah, blah. I'm not that, it's not my style. But there was a general feeling, Lamar's playing. I mean, I think that's kind of been the way they've prepared every step of the way. That's partially terrifying, to be honest. I mean, if it's the MVP version you saw before, look out. That's a dangerous. Everyone on the planet knows Henry plus great Lamar is a handful to deal with.
100%.
But if it's what we've seen from him since he was injured originally, since he's been back, doesn't really concern me all that much. I don't know what to make of it.
So it is funny that you said that because I did yesterday. I did just a phone segment with Tom and Adamski on the Blitz. And Tom was like, who would you rather see on Sunday, Lamar Jackson or Tyler Huntley?
Yeah.
And I had to actually think about it for a second. I was like, the answer is Tyler Huntley.
Of course.
You'd rather see him.
Yeah.
But Lamar's not 100%. He hasn't had the greatest track record against the Steelers in his career. In fact, he has a losing record pretty decisively. Mm-hmm. But it would still just sound crazy to say, I'd rather play Lamar Jackson.
I do think it's crazy to say it. To have the thought or the conversation as we are right now isn't totally bonkers just because he's not himself or he has not been himself.
Yes. This year's Lamar has not looked like the past 4 or 5 years Lamar.
Yeah. But could Huntley beat the Steelers? Sure. Could Huntley blow out the Steelers? No.
I don't think so.
Could Lamar blow out the Steelers? Yeah.
If
it's last year version. And the whole AFC will be like, oh, no. Now we got to go to Baltimore.
Then Houston, whoever ends up going there. No, that's a good point.
I mean, that could be in the cards. I hope not, but
I would be shocked if the game were more than a 7 or 10 point game either way on Sunday.
I would too. I wasn't implying that that's probable.
Yeah. Just because time of the year, injury status of both teams,
familiarity.
History.
Right.
And I have to think too. I'm very interested to see what the first quarter and a half feels like on Sunday night.
Okay.
Because styles make fights.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of times when you're familiar with each other like this, that can result to coming out of the gates quickly and knowing exactly where you're attacking and where you're going. And there's not a lot of that, let's feel each other out and spar for a little bit. And I get to know what you're doing. But sometimes it does go the opposite way where you're so in tune, you're so down to the detail with your opponent that you're almost playing a little tight. You don't want to turn the ball over. I think we've seen that a lot
between these two head coaches. I know that you know that I know that you know. I think there's a lot of that between these
first
head coaches.
First one to blink is good.
Yeah. And then they'll play it closer to the vest than they usually do, especially early in the game. I mean, history between these coaches shows me that too. Now, I'm not countering you, but I don't think Lamar side, I don't think there's much mystery of what the Ravens are going to do.
Heck no.
I mean, they're going to give it to that
Derrick
big guy.
Henry left.
Yeah,
Derrick Henry right.
A lot.
Derrick Henry up the middle.
And you may have noticed this. I mean, the last time they played, they went left a lot with him, as most teams were during the course of the year. But we haven't got the Watt status. I mean, I don't know how that'll affect things. Either way, that's just a left-right note that I noticed in the last 24 hours. And I don't think there's much mystery what they're going to do on defense. I mean, if you watch Browns Steelers, you're probably going to get a lot of man coverage with single high. And, Metcalf's not in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you scored 6 points. Why wouldn't we try to mimic what the Browns did to you?
Totally.
Right.
Totally. And here's what we do know. We're going to talk to our buddy Chris Halicke in just a few minutes. And so, he's one of those real boots on the ground reporters. And so he'll be able to paint a clearer picture for us. But what we know from Steelers practice Wednesday, Matt, TJ Watt was limited, Isaac Seumalo limited, James Pierre limited, Brandon Echols limited, Calvin Austin limited.
Okay, I take that as good news, though.
Aaron Rodgers was a full participant, Skronik a full participant, Christian Kuntz a full participant. And that was the practice report from yesterday. So I think that's mostly good. Like
At least they're on the field.
No one was out.
Yeah,
and I think for a lot of those guys, the plan was like the TJs and the Seumalo's was probably just let's be limited on Wednesday regardless.
Yeah, I bet that's what I was sitting here thinking
Ramp
too.
this thing up throughout the week.
Especially TJ and Seumalo, as you mentioned, that are veterans that, Seumalo doesn't practice a ton of Wednesdays anyway,
And guys like Echols and Pierre that are dealing with, groin and calf injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get you out there and
go do something.
It's cold. It's that time of year.
Yeah.
We don't need you going full bore and re-aggravating something. Let's kind of ramp up to it type thing.
And folks, I mean, they practice in the indoor, or at least they did yesterday when I was down there. I mean, they all got like ski caps on. I mean, it's chilly in there too. It's not like it's super warm.
Correct. It's
right?
warmer, but it's
warmer,
not,
and there's not elements. But right. But no, I think that's what we should have expected. Was probably all these guys will do something, and if we would have gotten a DNP for any of those, I'd been like,
that's a
different story.
Yes.
Right.
So let's take our first break here.
Okay.
Shorter first segment, but that'll give us more time to talk to our buddy Chris Halicke and get some details from here on a Thursday as it relates to all the moving and shaking on the South Side and for Steelers practice. We'll do that when we return. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, just getting started here on The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here on a Thursday with plenty to get to with our good friend Chris Halicke, of course, covers the Steelers for DK Pittsburgh Sports. Chris, thank you for taking the time. Let's jump right into it because a lot of Ravens stuff, injury stuff that we want to discuss with you, and let's begin there. We saw that TJ Watt was a limited practice participant on Wednesday. How are you feeling about his status for Sunday's winner-take-all game against Baltimore?
I'm currently of the mentality when it comes to TJ Watt that I'm remaining with the status quo until I see something different. And the reason for that is just because this is not some sort of, tough through it injury like, a sprained ankle or a pulled hamstring or something along those lines where you can get shot up and you can, get whatever done and you can just be mentally tough and work through it. This is a completely different situation. We're talking about a partially collapsed lung that he's dealing with, that he's recovering from. That's a little bit more unpredictable, and there's no way that you can just tough through, recovering from a surgery like that. So, I'm definitely more optimistic heading into, what Friday's final report will show. Given the fact that he, did return to practice last week, that he's, continued to be limited. I'd like to see a full participant at some point before. If that doesn't happen, I don't feel good about it. But I remain a little skeptical that it's just a foregone conclusion that he's going to play, because this is just not something you can just tough through it and play it. Look, this is a completely different situation. It's just not like playing through various banged up type stuff that players deal with throughout the season.
So, Chris, we didn't have a drive yesterday, but I think we've talked about this on Tuesday, Wes and I, that if Watt is on a true pitch count, he dresses, he plays, going to use him sparingly. I mean, he's one of the best pass rushers ever, But I would use him on early downs. I mean, especially against this opponent. I think his run defense, I want him out there on first down maybe more than 3rd and 8, especially as well as Herbig and Highsmith are playing.
Yeah, well, I think one of the ways that this defense has been successful, especially here in recent weeks, is that they have been a lot better on 1st and 2nd down. They've been forcing opposing offenses to get into more 3rd and long situations. While the defense hasn't always been great this season in terms of stopping those 3rd and longs, that's still something you aim for as a defense, is to force offenses into 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 instead of 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. So yeah, I would like to see something like that too. I think that's why usually, and I don't have numbers to back this up, but just based off of watching, that's why I think the Steelers like to blitz a little bit more often on like 2nd down, because they prefer to get offenses into that 3rd and long situation. So yeah, I could see something like that. Then just, hey, it's 3rd and 7, we have to get after Lamar or whoever's back there, and let's just put TJ out there. No, I mean, Herbig's a good pass rusher. Highsmith's playing; he's on a heater right now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I could see something like that.
Chris, I want to ask you, this is another one of those kind of boots on the ground, and you're around the team and in the locker room and those type of things. This could be the final time Aaron Rodgers takes an NFL field. And even if the Steelers are victorious on Sunday, he could be coming down the home stretch of his career here as well. That, I think, is something we won't have clarity on for a little while. He, rightfully so, I'm sure will take some time after the season, regardless of when it ends, to decide and think about that and see how his body feels and all those things. But do you sense any kind of like, hey, around the Steelers locker room, this guy's a legend, this could be it for him, we can't let him go out like this, like we have to at least get to the postseason and give this guy one last opportunity at the dance if this is his final run?
And Chris, real quick, just to interject, I mean, no one's even incited this, but it could be Cam Hayward's last game.
Yeah,
I mean, like there's a lot of guys retire at the end of its seasons,
Yeah, I don't get the sense that the team is looking for extra motivation.
Okay,
it's like okay, let's win for Aaron, or let's win for Cam, or win for TJ, or they're playing for a division crown.
They've got enough motivation.
That's motivation enough for them, and that's usually when you're talking with players, whether it's on the record, off the record, that's typically been just the overall. It's been the overall consensus feeling is, hey, we got to. If we win, we're not only in the playoffs, but we got ourselves a home playoff game, and that's the motivation right now. So, and probably that's the mentality you would want your players to have. Like you would want the Steelers players to have, because if they're looking for extra motivation, like why the heck are you not motivated enough just by the fact that, listen, this is pretty much a playoff game. That should be the motivating factor. And so that's.
And you were embarrassed a little bit last week too.
Yeah, no,
especially offensively,
And Aaron, he was kind of asked about like, hey, you usually don't have a lot of back-to-back. What do you do to bounce back from those games typically? He goes, yeah, if you look at my career, I don't have a lot of back-to-back stinkers. So I'm kind of, Aaron knows who he is. So
mm-hmm.
it's going to be interesting to see how Aaron plays. Just given the fact that he wasn't very good against Cleveland. So hey, maybe he plays really well, and that's enough for the Steelers to win the game.
So speaking of that Browns game, I know you pay a lot of attention to coverages and tendencies and all those things. How much do you expect the Ravens to try to mimic the defensive game plan that Cleveland has, and how capable do you think they are of doing it?
Well, this is what's probably one of the things I'm looking for the most going into this game, because heading into the last matchup between these two teams, the Ravens were among the league leaders in man coverage, single high, all this stuff. Then the Steelers just tore them to shreds. I mean, especially DK Metcalf with all those passes downfield, the go balls and everything. Since then, the Ravens have actually nearly doubled their normal zone usage over the past 3 games. They have just gone to strictly more zone, the most that we've seen all season long for them. But they can also look on film, look at what the Browns did to them by just manning up, and be like, you know what?
Yeah,
this might be the week to go back to manning up again. And I'm curious because the zone stuff's been working for them. They've now played themselves into this position. Not necessarily saying that the Ravens defense did all that great against Malik Willis and the Packers. It was just they won that game because Derrick Henry just went berserk. But, you know, I have a hard time, if I'm game planning for the Steelers, watching what the Browns did and knowing that man coverage and single high is in my wheelhouse or something that I at least have in my playbook and thinking, I'm not going to go use that. Like, that should be what the Ravens do, but if they feel the zone stuff is working more often, maybe they just go, hey, we're going to go with what's working. And I think that actually bodes well for the Steelers because they have more guys right now that can beat zone more consistently than beating man.
I also think there's several differences, but they also don't have the pass rush that the Browns do by any stretch.
They do not. They do not.
That's
actually
have to come via blitz or, you know.
Yeah, I asked Arthur Smith about this today, and the one thing that he mentioned about that was you don't see a lot of quarterbacks who are getting to their second read against the Browns. Mm-hmm. You know, that just doesn't happen very, very frequently.
Sure.
And that's a really good point because you will be able to get to your second read a lot more frequently against the Ravens because the Ravens don't have a good pass rush. So that could be also be deciding, like, even if they decide, yeah, let's man up, Rodgers might have more time to get through his progressions, to go from 1 to 2 to check down or 1 to 2 to 3, whatever it is. And that could be the difference. That could between getting 6 points against the Browns and getting maybe 20 or 23 against the Ravens. And that might be enough to win if your defense can play the way it's been playing for the past few weeks.
Chris Halicke with us here on The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Chris, maybe we buried the lead a little bit. We've had you on the phone for about 10 minutes here and haven't really mentioned or talked much about Derrick Henry. He will turn 32 years old, actually, on Sunday on game day. Aging like a fine wine, certainly, I think, compared to most at his position at his age. And what he did last Saturday night at Lambeau was one of the better performances of his career. 4 touchdowns, 216 yards, 36 carries, just punishing that Packers defense. Do you think Baltimore looks at it and kind of like copy and paste? We're going to same type of thing again, you know, high 20s, low 30s amount of carries for Derrick Henry? Or will they have to adapt and change the game plan based on this Steelers defense? How obviously he's going to be a huge focal point, but just how much is Derrick Henry the real X factor in this game?
I think he is the X factor, and I'm not taking anything away from Lamar Jackson. It does look like, as of right now, we're not certain for sure that Lamar is definitely starting, but he was a full participant Wednesday. He's practicing again today. It looks like Lamar is going to be coming back, but we'll see. But Derrick Henry right now is the X factor. When he has a performance like that, I don't know how you don't go back to him, especially when you look at the past 2 games that the Ravens have played against the Steelers. They had 217 rushing yards a few weeks ago, and then obviously you go back to that playoff game, they had 299 yards. They have to think we're going to continue to just shove the ball down their throat, and we're going to do it with Derrick Henry. But the Steelers are coming off of 3 straight weeks in which they have completely shut down the run. I mean, they held Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in the Lions' rush attack to just 15 yards. So this run defense right now is kind of feeling itself, and they have Derek Harmon back, and we see the splits between when Harmon's on the field, when he's not on the field. So that's another matchup to watch. I think the Ravens will be going, will be trying to give. I mean, the last time they played, Derrick Henry had 25 carries. It's not 36, but 25 is still a good amount, especially in today's NFL. So now the Steelers did a pretty good job of keeping a cap on it. He only averaged 3.8 yards per carry in that game. So if they do that, okay, well, you got to make sure you keep a lid on Keaton Mitchell, who's a good change of pace back and who can, he rattled off that 55-yarder in that game. So it's not just Derrick Henry, but if they keep a cap on Henry, I feel like they stand a better chance of not getting trampled the way that they got trampled in the playoffs last year. Like, even though they gave up the 217 yards in the game a few weeks ago, I didn't feel like that was like an overwhelming, like, gosh, the Steelers aren't going to win this game. And maybe it was just because of the way the offense was playing. Certainly you don't want to give up that many rushing yards, but if you can keep a cap on Henry, also knowing Lamar is not 100%, he's clearly going to be playing banged up, and he's had several injuries over the course of the season. I don't think Lamar is the threat that he normally is in terms to run the ball. So, yeah, it's got to be sellout to stop Henry. Otherwise, it could be a really long night.
So we know there's no DK Metcalf. We know there's no Darnell Washington. And this has frustrated me all year, and I'll be critical on Monday if they lose and don't use Pat Freiermuth. I have to think that he's got to be featured in this game as much as any game this season, basically.
I would like to think so.
Yeah. It's frustrating.
I'd like to think so. It definitely is. I mean, like, I understand, when they're at full strength and they have the collection of tight ends that they have, there's only one ball to go around.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
And I think Washington demands snaps just because he's such a freak.
Yes, I agree with that. But what Freiermuth right now is arguably your best man beater.
Yeah, I think he is.
Tight end.
I think it's him or Gainwell on the team right now.
Right, and so if the Ravens do come out and say, "Listen, we are stealing the blueprint that Cleveland laid out last week, and we're just going to cover you to death," then you got to use Pat. You got to use Pat. I don't know if I would trust the Ravens linebackers. Maybe Kyle Hamilton. They stick Kyle Hamilton on Freiermuth all game long, then maybe it won't work out. But I doubt they would do something like that because Hamilton's just so versatile and they can use him in so many different ways, and he's effective in all those ways. I
think Freiermuth should be an every snap guy. I mean, play 90% of the snaps.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he is their best overall tight end. I would like to think that a game like this where your hand is being forced, you don't have Darnell Washington, you don't have DK Metcalf, you're going to have to lean into it. And if he has a big game, again, that could be the difference. We talk about a lot of things that could be the difference in this game. That could be a difference because when you're missing impactful players like DK Metcalf and Darnell Washington, somebody else has got to step up, and Pat's probably most equipped to be that guy.
Chris, last one I've got for you. Pretty simple. Steelers win Sunday if. Steelers lose Sunday if.
Oh, boy. The Steelers lose Sunday if Derrick Henry goes nuts.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty self-explanatory. If they cannot stop Derrick Henry in the run game, I don't see them winning at all. The Steelers win. I'm trying to think of the right way, the right angle. I'll put it this way: the Steelers win if the Ravens decide to not steal Cleveland's blueprint. If they try to do their own thing, if they try to stick with the things that have been working for them over the past few weeks, I don't see that being the best game plan. I think Aaron Rodgers would be able to pick that apart. I think they have enough guys that can find the spots in zone. We talk about Pat Freiermuth. I mean, Mike Tomlin himself has called Pat Freiermuth a zone killer. He does know how to find those soft spots. I think if the Ravens run out any kind of zone more consistently than man, then I really, really think this could be it could be a game in which the Steelers kind of get all the points that they need to win the game. So I'll put it that way.
I like it.
I like it too. Chris Halicke, dude, thank you for the time as always. We appreciate it. Happy New Year, and we will talk to you soon.
Happy New Year to you guys. Thanks for having me.
There he goes, Chris Halicke, DK Pittsburgh Sports. Always fun conversation with him, and we'll see him at the Ball Yard on Sunday night. Matt, some breaking-ish news from Steelers practice. Good news that I want to get to with you when we return on the other side.
Awesome.
The Steelers have given out a couple regular season awards, too, that I think worth mentioning. And then we've got to begin diving into Matt's stats packet as we start to talk more Steelers and Ravens and look ahead to Sunday night. We'll do all of that as we close down the first hour of the show. On the other side, Uhler, Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. All right, Mr. Williamson, would you like some good news?
Sure, might as well. Bring in the new year.
I think this is good news. And you know what they say happens when you assume. But I also think NFL coaches, coordinators, players, they are so tutored They are so careful in the things that they say, the way that they phrase things, because they know every word that they say is going to get dissected and picked apart. Terrell Austin just said not too long ago, and I quote, when he was asked about TJ Watt before practice, I believe it was. He said to the media, and I quote, "It will be great to have him back. In what capacity, we won't know until Sunday, but it'll be great to have him back."
Wow.
End quote.
That's pretty revealing.
That, to me, sounds like something that a defensive coordinator would not say unless he was, again, in what capacity, we don't know, but that sounds like TJ Watt is going to be on the field on Sunday night against the Ravens.
Okay. So I gave Mike Pursuta a lot of credit over the show we recorded 2 nights ago because Tomlin's initial press conference, Monday, he was talking about all these injured fellas. Tuesday, yeah, right. Talking about all these injured fellas. And Watt was a different beast. He lumped all the guys together, Pierre and Eccles, we're hopeful things are trending the right direction. And I forget the exact word he said for Watt. And Pursuta picked up on it because, like Dale or these guys have done it forever.
When you're in that setting so much.
I was like, boy, you're good at this, Mike. He's like, he's phrased that one a little bit different. And don't think anything that comes out of that guy's mouth at a press conference isn't exactly the way he wants it to be, too, And it was basically that sort of way. In what capacity, I think it was kind of the phrasing or something like that, or situational or something like that, was the wording.
Something that stood out to the old news hound, Mike
Pursuta. Yeah.
Again, the way that these guys speak, they're so calculated with everything. That quote really stood. When I saw that come across the timeline right as we were about to go to break, it'll be great to have him back. In what capacity, we won't know until Sunday, but it'll be great to have him back. I am now, I think, in the camp of I'll be surprised if we don't see number 90.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying he's going to play 50 snaps, 60 snaps.
He might get out there and have a hard time breathing, or I don't know.
But that, to me, sounds like they are pretty confident he's going to be available in some, again, to use that word, capacity.
The phrasing's important with this stuff.
The phrasing is very important with this stuff.
You're a reporter for a living. These guys really know these things. Yeah.
And these guys do not say, again, everything that they say and share is calculated. And so to say something like that, I would think
they're counting on him to play.
Bodes pretty well for TJ Watt.
Cool. Okay.
And at least seeing 90 return to action in that must-win game on Sunday night. Matt, we have some other Steelers news of the day to get to before we start diving into your stats packet and all that good stuff. And that is 2 regular season end-of-the-year type awards that were given out by the Steelers yesterday. And that is the Chief Award and the Joe Green Performance Award. Chief Award is given to the member of the Steelers deemed best at dealing with the media. And the Joe Green Performance Award, is given to it's Steelers Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year, yeah.
Patrick Queen wins the Chief Award, and Derek Hardman wins the Joe Green Performance Award.
Okay.
Chief Award's a little more difficult for you and I to speak on and talk about.
Maybe we should have mentioned it to Halicke or
that's a good point, actually.
I know Missy's not exactly a reporter type, but she deals with these guys a lot in that capacity too. I definitely want to bring that up.
Bring that up with her tomorrow. Good call.
But yeah, it's kind of the Pursuit of Dale conversation we just had too. That these guys take that award seriously, and I remember Dale was real stringent about who he voted for.
Sure.
I'm not going to just he seemed nice to me, whatever else. They take it seriously, and not everybody wants to deal with the media. And
that's what I was.
Yeah,
it typically goes to the guy, and it makes sense with Patrick Queen. Whether the Steelers win by 50 or whether they lose an ugly 13-6 game in Cleveland with a shot to win the division, Patrick Queen will stand up there and he'll answer questions in the good and the bad. He'll stand up and be counted.
Yeah.
That to me is the type of person that the award usually goes to. A lot of guys will talk after a win, but don't want to say anything out. It's the guy that you can count on, good, bad, indifferent. He'll stand up and be counted.
So Dale kind of meant, paraphrasing the story, but DeCastro. When DeCastro was drafted, he's Stanford, smart. Obviously smart, but he is strictly business.
Straight business.
He barely said anything. Not a fun interview. He wasn't mean to the media.
I was going to say, not in a jerk type way,
right?
Mean interview, but he just was so hyper focused, didn't have much to say.
Yeah, not a real fun listen for the fans to hear DeCastro say things. But over the years, that offensive line, Pouncey, DeCastro, Big Al, Ramon, et cetera, really became leaders and the backbone of that team. I mean, obviously Roethlisberger was there too. And Dale talks about how DeCastro thought it became he looked at it through the lens of, this is more important than I thought. It's more than just, I'm speaking for my teammates. I'm deflecting some of the bigger issues here. You know, like, you can come to me, you know, and I'll tell you what I think, you know, and I think that's kind of cool. You know, again, I don't quite understand the reporter world, but trying to do it through these guys' lens that we know so well, you know.
Same here. You'll laugh at this, to peel back the curtain for everybody, and I was actually joking with Tyler about this when we got into the studio today. Every once in a while, when it would be a Saturday night in Tampa Bay, and the Steelers are playing the Buccaneers the next day, and myself and Dale Lawley and Mike Pursuta would be out on the town having a good time.
Hole, yeah.
If I would want to get those guys fired up, I'd be like, you guys really like self-righteous? You got to give out an award at the end of the season? Like, that would be always one of my things that I knew I could get. They had the things they could get me going on.
Oh, I'm sure. Right.
Different hockey topics or WVU topics that they wanted, if they ever wanted to jab with me. That was always mine for them.
Yeah, who cares about that award?
It was like, you guys going to go cry that Juju only talked to the media for 90 seconds and didn't give you guys enough of your time? You're so important.
All right.
But I do think
I'm sure they'd jump right down your throat. With
my gosh, they would get they'd go from 0 to 100 in half a second. And you kids these days think you can get everything off of social media.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
But I do still think, even as much as the world has changed in that media capacity, and we're now in 2026, the guys in the locker room that, again, not just after we beat the Baltimore Ravens, not just after we go on a 3-game winning streak, we'll talk to the media. The guys that will answer the tough questions and will face the music in all settings. I do think there's still something to be said for those guys in the locker room. I do think that's important.
I do too, and I think their teammates respect it too. Like, I don't want to be that guy. I'm glad you're doing it for me. I think that's kind of why DeCastro became that guy to some degree.
I think in a lot of capacities, the best leaders do.
I got it, guys. Right. Yeah. I know not everyone wants to deal with that. I'll handle it.
Exactly right. And then the Joe Green Performance Award, quite simply just a vote for the Steelers Rookie of the Year. And I don't think there's a ton of...
Who's even runner-up?
Well, you didn't have a second-round pick.
Which
makes it a little more difficult. Sawyer?
Yeah.
Caleb Johnson, obviously not much of a factor. I think it's Sawyer.
Yeah.
It's Sawyer and Harmon.
Now, that's not a wonderful reflection on the draft class to date, but really got nothing from your day 2 guys.
We only had one, and you haven't really gotten anything from them. Yeah.
Now, I'm not implying that this class is going to be worthless or they missed on it, but you didn't get a ton of rookie production.
No.
Overall. I mean, Harmon didn't even – it was good when he was out there. Everyone's happy with Harmon, but he didn't play a full season,
There's been some years where this award has been difficult to give out because you have multiple viable candidates.
One year, Daniel Sepulveda won it as a punter. One year, Patrick Bailey won it as a special teamer, undrafted free agent linebacker.
Yes. Yes.
It's not always picking from the.
There's been some really good winners in this regard over the last couple. Like Zach Frazier won this award. Joey Porter Jr. won this award.
They were great as rookies, right?
But there's been some other lighter years. I think Derek Harmon is deserving. I also just think it is telling to the lack of rookie production, like you mentioned, when it typically wouldn't go to a guy who missed a few games.
Yeah.
But man, he's been so impactful, and there's been such a clear difference when he's been on the field and off the field. I think he's a deserving winner.
I do too. Like, I don't know, if we looked at the last 30 of them, I bet his case is as strong as 15 of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to me, the concerning part was who's number 2. It's clearly him.
It's clearly him.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the more difficult question might be who's number 3, because if you put Sawyer at 2, I guess it would be Y.A. Black.
I guess.
I mean, Carson Bruner has been a real contributor on special teams.
He's going to be a keeper as a special teamer.
But
that's, is there any undrafted guys? I mean, you immediately think of draft picks, but
yeah. No,
it's not a wealth to pick from.
When you don't have a second round pick and your third round pick has next to no contribution,
right.
It's a little thinner in that regard this year, but hopefully that won't be the case always moving forward here.
Yeah, noteworthy though.
It is noteworthy. I do think pretty soon, maybe even by the time you and I go on air tomorrow or at some point today, that we will have Steelers team MVP as well.
Okay.
Because I heard Calvin Austin on the highly rated Chalk Talk program on Tuesdays with Jerry Dulac on WDVE talking about how they had voted this week for team MVP. So I would just imagine.
You think it's Rodgers?
Yeah.
I do too.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, Cam's come on really strong. Highsmith's been ridiculous when he's been on the field. There's a couple defensive guys that could throw. Porter, could throw their hat in the ring.
Heck yeah.
But it's a quarterback, and the offense is gone as he's gone.
I think it's about that simple.
Yeah.
I think it's about that simple. He's at the position that more often than not wins these things.
Of course.
And yeah, I think there's been not much of a doubt that it's been him because there hasn't been Cam's been outstanding.
Oh man.
But he just doesn't have the same tangible impact as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Someone like TJ, who typically
he could win this every year almost.
You could feel the impact every year. It hasn't been quite to that level.
He's not winning it this year. Though.
Yeah, he's not this year. And then it's not like you've got a Derrick Henry style running back or an Antonio Brown style wide receiver. I think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
So players vote for this one.
Yes.
So not to give you a hard time, but they're not going to care about the stats as much.
No.
They understand the value of Cam.
That's actually a very good point.
Yeah,
this isn't like an all-pro or a Hall
No,
of
these
Fame.
aren't a bunch of writers
That's
like,
true.
I don't know who the best guard is or, whatever.
And now that you go down that way, that alleyway, that pathway, that wormhole there.
I assume Cam's won it before.
I
should know these off the top of my head.
What I was going to say is I don't think Cam has won it before, which maybe his teammates are looking around like, this guy deserves one.
So I think Ben hardly ever won it.
Ben, I think, only won it once.
And there's a lot of talk down there that he's told people don't vote for me.
2009 was the only time that Ben won it. So over the
you
last...
have the whole list?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, it's been, as you can imagine, a ton of TJ. TJ won it last year and the year before. So
if you're going to win Defensive Player of the Year, you should probably win your team MVP too.
Yes. 22, it was Minkah Fitzpatrick. Okay, so 24 and 23 were TJ. 22 was Minkah. But 21, 20, and 19, also TJ. So TJ has won 5 of the last 6.
Yeah, okay.
Minkah being the lone exception there. Juju won in 18, AB in 17, Lev Bell in 16, AB in 15, Lev Bell in 14, AB in 13.
Wow, it's funny how the defense and offense have massive sways here.
Yeah. So
Streaks.
AB won it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I think
totally makes sense.
I think he had the most until TJ won it for the 5th time last year.
Gotcha. Okay.
Lev Bell won it twice. Heath won it once. Ben won it once. Debo won it twice. Hines Ward and Casey Hampton and James Ferrier. Hines Ward won it 3 times, actually. Von Kirkland, multiple-time winner. Jerome Bettis, multiple-time winner. And now I'm really starting to date myself with some of these ones. But I was just trying to look. It looks like TJ, top of the mountain. AB, second, maybe tied with I think AB is second most.
Does Watt have 5?
Watt has 5.
Yeah.
5 of the last 6, which is pretty stinking impressive.
And then I think he opened the door for somebody else this year.
I think so.
I mean, I don't say it's bad, but he's not going to win it this year.
Yeah.
No.
And if you look like back in the 70s, I mean, man, it was a who's who of Franco and Andy Russell and Joe Green and Mel Blount and Lambert. And Bradshaw won it back-to-back years in 77 and 78. Okay. Stallworth, Donnie Shell, Lambert again there. Stallworth again. So a lot of guys with 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. But I think AB's the only one with 4.
A little bit of competition in that neighborhood, though.
It's like, you going to the Hall of Fame, I'm going to the Hall of Fame. Who's
right.
Win this thing?
10 Hall of Famers I got to pick.
Kirkland was a back-to-back winner. Yeah, a lot of guys with 2 and 3, but I think AB and TJ Watt, the only ones I'm seeing with 4 and 5 respectively between those two.
Okay. Probably going to have a new one.
Probably.
Cam has 1. I think Cam will get some serious votes.
I think he will. I think he will, and I think he deservedly so. I don't think that's...
he's been really, really good lately, too.
Yes.
I think he's super important in this game, too. Their guards are very suspect.
I agree with you. I'm with you on that one. Trying to see here because we're getting some tweets rolling in about practice, but nothing specific in terms of availability. So with that,
maybe in the second hour we'll get a little more news.
Let's save that for the second hour. I do want to talk a little college football playoff with you in the second hour too.
Absolutely.
We had a game last night. We got some games going on now, but we have to get into plenty of Matt's stats today. as it's a Thursday, and that is typically what we do, and kind of a way to set the scene for the upcoming action this weekend. And Matt, I know we've talked about this before, but this one still stands out to me. The Steelers have led at halftime in 11 games this season.
I know.
Second most in the league. They've lost 4 games after leading at halftime, most in the league.
Most in the league. And
this one, to me, it's been kind of tough to pinpoint because at times lately, it felt like they've been better out of the locker room.
Yeah. And the time possession stuff's been better. To me, this reflects a lot in the time possession and plays throughout the year.
Yes, yeah. And I think typically in that kind of stretch in like October, November timeframe where they were really struggling in that department.
Yep.
Across 67 pass attempts, this one paints a picture. 67 times this year the Steelers have thrown the football with DK Metcalf off the field. So either just because he was on the sideline for a snap,
right, or missed a game,
or missed a game. Aaron Rodgers has completed just 56.7% of those passes, averaging just 4.7 yards per attempt, a 2.5 second average to throw, an explosive pass rate of 10.4%.
So I think it's pretty clear over the course of Rodgers' career. We always call it like a whoopee, you're his favorite guy, his buddy, it's Jordy Nelson, it's Devontae Adams. Clearly it's Metcalf here. And some of it's, everyone's number one receiver, the offense coordinator schemes up your best guy, blah, 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 blah. But I think it's stronger with Rodgers than with most quarterbacks. And frankly, to be honest, I thought that hurt him against the Browns. I think he tried to take MVS and he's going to be my guy now. Well, he's not good enough to do that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I can't just throw it to him over and over and he's going to make plays. That's not Devontae Adams out there. This guy's been on several teams. He's not the answer, So I don't know that Rodgers at this stage of his career ever changed his ways or has regrets, but I got the feeling that he was feeding one guy, not unnecessarily, but more than he deserved.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And he's had some really good guys to feed in that regard over his career. But it's well known at this point. He's been in the NFL for over 2 decades. He likes his guys. He likes people that he's comfortable with, that he can trust.
Even with the Jets, he was feeding Garrett Wilson early, but then him and Wilson weren't
They weren't
together because Wilson's more of an improv guy. He's not where he's supposed to be. Doesn't mean he's a lesser receiver. He's just a different style than Rodgers loves.
Little George Pickens-esque there, like some freelancing stuff.
But when they traded for Adams, that was the guy.
Yes.
He fed him like crazy, right?
Yes, and hey, he's far from the only quarterback in the NFL that has had his guys and likes his guys.
Yeah. Mahomes and Kelsey,
100%. Brady with Welker and Edelman. Those guys operate on such a high level, such a plane of their own. That there's not a lot of people that can speak the language and keep up with them at times. And
I wonder. Again, this is a way bigger project that I'm taking on. But if you looked at all like the Hall of Fame style quarterbacks, how big a gap would there be production wise when you take away their number one? My hunch is Rodgers' gap's bigger than
he
most.
might be towards the top of
he
that
might
list.
be. He could be higher than most. Right.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Hour in the books, another hour to go. We're going to dig a bunch of more of these math stats that we have to get into in hour number 2. We'll talk a little bit about the college football playoff. We got to do our pick-a-player exercise with the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know why, but the way you just said that made me laugh. Oh, yeah. We've got plenty
it
more.
It shocks me every week. I always forget about it.
That's like me on Tuesday nights. I know that Tuesday nights is when I have to put the trash out because trash comes Wednesday mornings. But
same with us.
It still surprises me every Tuesday night. I'm still like, oh, the garbage, right as I'm getting ready to go to bed. Halfway home here on The Drive, hour number 2 on the other side. Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How you doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2 here. First show of the new year. New year, same us as we rock and we roll and we get ready for this massive Week 18 clash on Sunday Night Football with the Baltimore Ravens. Before we jump back into the Matt's stats packet here, Matt, will you oblige me for 60 seconds of radio fodder?
Do it.
Are you a pork and kraut guy on New Year's?
Sort of. My wife and her family are very, very German, like 100% pure blood, blonde, blue eyes.
I've heard the story of her maiden name.
Yeah,
I could pick up what you're putting down. And
so
with my last name Uhler, I'm in the same ballpark.
So that's been a tradition for them for years.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think there's any smell on the planet my daughter hates more than kraut and pork just like drifting through the house and getting in your nose. She hates every bit of it. So I think my wife Nikki has probably eased up on her a little bit over the years. And I don't love it. I mean, what I do when we go to the crock pot, I'll pull out the kibasi, but I don't want a ton of the kraut on it. I like a shred or two, but I don't need like all that kraut on there. I mean, a nice bun, kibasi, mustard, I'm cool with that. But even like the pork by itself, it's like,
You and I are very similar, my friend.
Yeah.
Because I like pulled pork, like off a smoker with some barbecue sauce.
That's more my style too.
That's how I like pork. And bacon, obviously, and ribs and stuff.
But I don't need to crowd it up.
I don't need to crowd it up. I do like the kielbasa, though.
Yeah.
With a little bit of kraut, some good some good mustard.
Yes.
But on that smell thing, this is the first time this has ever happened to me. Like, I've never been some massive pork and kraut guy, but I also haven't been like, it's disgusting. Got a bunch of snow last night. I'm sure you did too. Everybody here in the Pittsburgh area. We got crushed with snow last night. It was awesome. I said to my wife, I was like, it kind of feels like Christmas Eve, like getting all this snow
big
here
time,
on New Year's Eve. So this morning, of course, the girls wanted to go sled riding.
Nice.
So
Good day for that. Yeah.
They woke up early. We let them stay up last night. Parents, look at me in the camera right now of young children. Don't let your kids stay up on New Year's, all right? Because
it never pays off.
It never pays off. They're still gonna wake up at the same time.
And every new parent will be like, TV, take note. We'll let them stay up because they'll sleep till noon tomorrow. Nope. They do when they're teenagers, but not at that age.
Not at that age. And so they were both still up at 6.
And then they'll be grumpy today at like 3 p.m. Right.
I was not. I felt bad for my wife, but I was not terribly sad to be leaving the house today to come do the show with you.
Gotta work, huh? Right, yeah.
Like, there was a lot of coffee being drank, and the girls were just grumpy and low on sleep.
Yeah.
So at 6:30, they wake up. All they want to do is, let's go sled riding. And I'm like, in a little bit.
Yeah.
So finally, like 9 a.m.
I'm sure Daddy was up late too. And
Daddy was up last night, and doing some hydrating and all that stuff.
Yeah. Good game on.
Yeah, exactly right. That didn't end until close to midnight. I took the girls out at 9 o'clock. I was like, sweetheart, I'll give you some time to relax. And she was like, yeah, I'm just gonna get some laundry going and get the pork and kraut going.
Okay.
I go back in the house, and our youngest daughter had gone back inside earlier than me and my oldest, because she doesn't really like the cold and the snow and all that. Understandable. She's only 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
I come back in the house, and her name's Claire, and I'm like, oh, did Claire have a blowout? Like, what happened? What is that smell? Is there one of her diapers in the trash?
You don't notice it if you're there and it's going as you're around.
My wife's
come out of nowhere.
My wife's like, sweetheart, that's the pork and kraut and kielbasa, and I was like, that's the first time it's ever smelled like that to me.
Yeah, it's harsh, man.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe my senses and my taste buds are changing here, as they tend to do as you grow old and adapt and all those things.
Yeah, but it'll hit you like.
But when I walked into the house, I was like, sweetheart, like, do we have a poopy diaper in the trash can? Like, what is going on here?
So my daughter was always much better about chores than my son. I'm not sure that's uncommon.
Shocker.
Yeah, not a big shock, but. I always thought to myself, if she ever really slacks on him and pisses me off, I'm putting the crock pot like next to her bed.
Putting it in the hallway right in front
right
of
in
her
the hallway,
room.
right. Like next to like the litter box too, or right. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
So I had to get your thoughts on all that.
That's funny. We're the same though.
We are very.
But I
similar.
could go for a nice chunk of kibasi out of there. Oh yeah.
Some good mustard.
Mm-hmm.
You're speaking my language there, partner. Matt, let's jump back into your stats pack here as we get rolling in hour number 2. I don't know. You want some good news? You want some bad news? How you feeling?
There's a lot of both.
There's a lot of both. Let's start with something good, because this is a piggyback off of what we talked about last week. We gave some very impressive numbers on Joey Porter Jr. and how long he's been in coverage without giving up a touchdown and all these things. That number now, Joey Porter Jr. has played 1,444 consecutive snaps without allowing a touchdown. Longest active streaks amongst quarterbacks, and more than twice as long as the next closest streak, which is just
pretty
insane.
Crazy. Yeah.
Last time he allowed a touchdown in coverage, week 8 of 2023. He's also, though this is very impressive, has made a play on the ball on almost 22% of the passes that have been thrown his way this year. That's the fifth best.
That might be more impressive.
The fifth best amongst quarterbacks with at least 50 targets, because you have to meet that minimum threshold. He's allowing a completion percentage of a little under 54%, 15th best in the National Football League.
It's phenomenal. Again, I
usually
don't
is playing
cite
great football.
I usually don't cite like defensive back numbers, because maybe if we had Terrell Austin here, he'd be like, Porter let up a touchdown here. He just blew the coverage.
Sure.
And nobody knew it.
And NFL Next Gen, yes, absolutely.
And they missed it. But
that's like the J.J. Watt went on that tangent, which I think is good, about how he's like, I would love to be one of these graders for Pro Football Focus. But first, before I give out grades for a defense, I need to talk to somebody on the team or somebody on the coaching staff.
Right.
And what coverage were you in? Whose responsibility was what?
Yeah.
Before I just hand out grades.
Exactly. Again, so a lot of this stuff with those type of things, and pressures, I'm kind of in that neighborhood too. I don't cite very often. But even if and this is from NFL.com, that's next gen stuff. So, but even if they're 98% right and not 100% right, it's still incredible. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah.
It is about as educated of an educated guess that you can have.
Yeah. Okay, they're one touchdown off. Okay, let's say the stat said he's allowed one touchdown in the last 1,400 snaps. Like, okay, that's pretty good.
Still pretty good.
That's still pretty good. I was asked today, was he a Pro Bowl snub? Maybe. I mean, I think he's right in that conversation. And big picture, not that they're going to have a decision to make, but it might shock some listeners of what Porter's contract's going to look like. It's going to be really pricey, and those corners don't come cheap,
Yes,
but that's
it is
a good problem to have. I mean, you took him with the 32nd pick that year. That's what you wanted him to turn into, and he is very quickly. You and I have talked about this, but like when I threw that on Twitter, again, I just cut and pasted it off NFL.com. Of course, many people now tell me the penalty numbers.
Every week.
It's all the time, and
it's way less than you think.
It's way less than you think. It's not. I mean, top corners get penalized. I mean, you're playing man coverage against the best receivers in the league. You're going to get more DPIs and defensive holdings than some. And it's been a huge problem for him in his career. He's the most penalized defensive player in the league last year, drew the most flags. It hasn't been this year, folks.
It hasn't.
No. I mean, it's gotten way better, as has his tackling.
It's the classic Dale Lawley. Guys are allowed to get better.
Yeah.
I think I used this example when we had a similar conversation last week. It's like the guy who comes into Major League Baseball and can't hit a curveball to save his life.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the first 2 years of his career, that becomes the narrative. But then by year 3 and 4, he's starting to hit curveballs, but everybody still thinks he can't.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. And he probably sees a lot of them, and he starts driving them over the fence,
Yes.
and all of a sudden, it's like, I better not throw him Serrano curveballs anymore. Right.
Jobu. I think Joey Porter Jr. should have been a Pro Bowler, but this is something Moats and I used to do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then tell me who for, right?
That's what I say, right. Surtain and Stingley.
I was going to say pretty good class. Stingley, Surtain, Christian Gonzalez, and Denzel Ward.
I was thinking Sauce made it, and I would not have had Sauce on there because he had injuries.
I think
Ward's the only one you could fight.
I was going to say, I think you could fight about Denzel Ward, but the other 3 had outstanding years.
Yeah. And the Ward take's not aging super well when they threw him 3 times in a row, and he was a blanket. By the way, that was nothing close to pass interference. That's what great coverage looks like, when one player's way better than the other, and Ward's a lot better than MVS.
Yes. He's a Pro Bowler in his own right.
Yes.
He is
fantastic.
fantastic.
Had a great career, yeah.
Matt, okay, other side of the equation here.
Who were them again? They were Gonzalez, Surtain,
Stingley, and Ward.
Okay. I was just thinking where they go in the draft. Ward was like the 4th pick in the draft. Stingley was like the 4th pick in the draft. Surtain he was in the middle.
10, 11,
He was
12.
like 1 pick after Broderick or 2 picks after Broderick. So they were all top 6-ish picks. Gonzalez was a mid-first rounder. And you got Porter, I mean, it was second round, but it was 32nd. I mean, that's what you got to pay for corners.
It's pretty good.
If you get Pierre or Samuel as your 2 next year, or both, at a decent price, without having to go out and spend a big,
in a good spot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of that perception that some people have with Joey Porter Jr. still isn't matching reality, but that's why you and I will continue to talk about it and give him his flowers every single week.
He'll be a guy we're talking about extensions this offseason.
I told you we got a chance to, myself and Rob King got a chance to interview him and his younger brother Jacob at the Hall of Honor induction.
Okay.
Talking about their dad.
Yeah.
Jacob is currently in law school at Duquesne.
Cool. Okay.
So I wonder if Joey will maybe one day be bringing Jacob into the fold to negotiate his future contracts.
That'd be a good move. Right.
I'm thinking
He'd
about
have
that
some
now.
connections if he's an agent.
When we were talking and we were like, Jacob, what are you doing? What are you doing now? He was like, I actually went back to school. I'm in law school. I'm at Duquesne getting my law degree. I should have been like, you going to be your brother's agent one day?
Is he interested in doing sports stuff?
I don't know. That's
right. They'd have connections.
I'm a bad interviewer. I am.
I am too.
That's something that I think of a month later. Is like, I should have asked him that. Yeah. Kind of like what we just did with Halicke a few minutes ago.
Exactly. We probably should have ran it by him.
Matt, okay, so that's more positive. Maybe we'll bob and weave between optimistic and pessimistic, good and bad here.
Sure.
The Steelers' defense has recorded a missed tackle rate of 14.1%.
That's another one that's not gospel.
Not gospel, but third highest in the National Football League. With that, it's estimated, again, not necessarily gospel, but ballpark.
Super quick, are you reading this off my Twitter feed?
Yes.
Because, I won't put those in Matt's stats.
Okay.
Even the Porter one I didn't put in Matt's stats.
Sure, I know that one wasn't.
But when I'm reading, off the next gen stuff, sometimes I'll just cut and paste them and put them on Twitter. Just because I don't know that they're 1,000%. I'm a nerd about it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And
Makes
not
sense.
because I don't want them to look bad. If they were the best in the league at it, I wouldn't cite missed tackles either.
Sure, Sure. As a result, and again, this is not gospel, but it comes from the NFL.
Yeah,
so
it's also next-gen stuff, yeah.
Not just some rando blogging in their basement either.
Exactly.
Allowed an extra 947 yards after missed tackles, fifth most in the league. Despite winning the game against the Ravens in Baltimore a few weeks ago, the Steelers had their fourth highest missed tackle rate in that game at 16.7%. A couple long runs for Baltimore that come back to the mind pretty quickly here.
Yeah.
I got to think that this is...
I think it's kind of comes in... It's ebbed and flowed throughout the season.
There's been times where they've been...
First month of the season, they were terrible.
Disaster.
A lot of this is from, the Jets game.
Seahawks game was bad. The Jets game was bad. The Patriots game was bad.
Yes.
Even some stuff in that Dublin game against the Vikings wasn't great. I don't know how, part of me looks at this and says, okay, you really struggled in this department last time you played Baltimore, so you'll get that corrected your due to be better, to be more buttoned up against the Ravens in that department. But I tell you what, Matt, they better be. Because
they better be, right.
They can't afford to miss 16, 17% of their tackles when you got Derrick Henry running the ball the way he is right now.
No, and if we were really going to take this to the next level, I'm sure I could find with some digging what team has forced the most missed tackles.
Sure.
Frankly, Warren's at the top of the league, by the way, in terms of ball carriers. He's one of the best at forcing missed tackles per their metrics. But I bet, I almost know, especially other years, the Ravens have to be at the top of the list in terms of forcing missed tackles.
Yes.
When there's a healthy
just
Lamar.
They've got such athletes, and Lamar and Henry.
I mean, Henry just is hard. They're so opposite. Now, what I will say, and this does show up on tape, Queen's is one of the biggest culprits. And he's played as many snaps as anyone on the team. He misses more tackles than just about any linebacker out there, especially by their metrics.
He's got the most on his plate.
Yes. And I also, Dale, I used to talk about this with Shazier a lot too, though. But he also gets to more plays than Malik Harrison. You know what I mean? If Harrison can't get to that play on the sidelines, but Queen can, and slows them up, and they gets a missed tackle, it's still a positive play. Shazier did a lot of that. Behind the line of scrimmage, he'd come flying in, almost make a great play, missed tackle.
Yep.
But then someone cleans it up for a 0-yard loss. You know, that doesn't happen before, right.
To use another baseball analogy.
But it's not Queen's best strength. I mean, he's tackling.
It maybe like the catcher that once or twice a season too often lets a pitch get behind him, but it's throwing out everybody who's trying to steal second base.
Yeah, right. I mean, or the best example actually in baseball is the shortstop that just covers so much ground.
Is going to have more errors.
He's going to have more errors
than the first baseman.
Yeah, than the big slow-footed shortstop that can hit but doesn't cover any ground. Right.
You want some good news, Matt? Pittsburgh, in this century, the 21st century, since the year 2000, 25 years now.
This shocked me.
Big sample size. Me too.
Yeah.
20-5 in regular season finales, including 11-1 at home.
Yeah, and then there's division games on that
10-1 in divisional when the last game of the regular season is a divisional game.
Yes. Now, a lot of people, I put that out there, and of course, yeah, you know how Twitter is. People are going to be like,
hey, people don't have positive things to say on Twitter.
Matt, you know, you're right. They'll be like, well, so many of those were against opponents had nothing to play for. Like, yeah, that's probably true. But it's also a testament that in Tomlin's career, I think he's had 2 games that, quote, don't mean anything.
Yes.
That's insane.
It's insane.
That's insane. So
Again,
the fact that it does mean something to you is also a testament to the team.
You and I talked about this, and it doesn't mean the Steelers are better than the Chiefs. It doesn't mean that we wouldn't swap the last 7 years with Kansas City, 8 years with Kansas City in a heartbeat.
31 teams would.
But Kansas City is playing more meaningless, air quotes, games this season than Tomlin has in his entire career with Pittsburgh.
His whole career, right.
Like, eliminated from the postseason games.
Most teams in the league are currently.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, about 15 of them.
Which, again, that's not to throw dirt on Kansas City. That's not to say that the Steelers have been better than them or anything like that. This is the first time in 7 years that Kansas City hasn't been to an AFC championship game.
But it kind of reminds me of like Monday Night at Home or night game stuff. Like, I don't know exactly why, but their record over this entire century,
and that's a big sample size,
is pretty good.
Here's another encouraging Matt stats pull for you. Baltimore has a turnover differential of -2 on the year compared to +11 for the Steelers. Steelers 26 takeaways, Baltimore 21, but the Ravens have turned the ball over 20. Is it 22 or 23 times?
I don't know if it's all bad.
23 times.
Okay.
Compared to 15 by Pittsburgh. Only the Vikings have more takeaways via fumbles than the Steelers.
Yes.
And only Seattle has lost more fumbles than Baltimore.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, too. First off, since he's been back, Lamar has thrown more picks than usual. During this stretch when he's out there, obviously he didn't play last week, but this stretch when he's been out there post-injury and not being himself, he's turned the ball over a lot more than he usually does. Like his touchdown-interception ratio the last couple of years is like Rodgers used to be.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And the other thing is Henry fumbles a lot. Not in this year. I mean, lately. And in crucial moments, there's been a couple big games that he's fumbled a lot. And the last note here is the Steelers are always – people can say, and there's some truth to it, that counting on turnovers is a hard way to live and it's unpredictable. And there's a lot of truth to that. But kind of like batted passes, the Steelers are at the top of the league at forced fumbles every year. You can't tell me that's an accident. And if you watch Watt
year,
play,
you can say it's an accident, but not when it's a
and Watt has like the most
this.
Ever. Like he's really good at it, and they stress it a lot, and they get a lot of ball carriers or a lot of tacklers to the ball carrier, and they forced a lot of fumbles on quarterbacks. I mean, it's Herbig, it's Watt, you know. I mean, so I don't think that's fluky at all.
No, it's absolutely not.
Right.
It's part of their DNA.
I'm sure Harbaugh is stressing ball security in a big way to Henry. Derek, we're going to give you the ball a million times.
Hold on to that thing.
But even more so than ever.
The Ravens held the ball for over 40 minutes last week, Matt, at Lambeau Field. 40 minutes and 16 seconds. The good news, though, the last 3 weeks, the Steelers are averaging almost 33 minutes of time of possession.
That's what we wanted in camp.
Of their own.
Like this last month almost is what we were shooting for in camp. You know?
And so that's going to be, obviously, but that's going to be a big thing to keep an eye on Sunday. Baltimore's been really good there lately. The Steelers have been really good there lately. Who can have that as their advantage? And then sack differential. Steelers,
big one, yeah.
Steelers plus 14 on the year. Ravens minus 14 on the year. Matt, I'm no math expert, but I can do the math on that one. That's a 28 sack difference between these two teams. That has to be an advantage for the Steelers Sunday night.
They're a poor pass rushing team.
They are.
I mean, they really are.
Especially without Madubuike.
Yeah. They don't have a lot of one-on-one winners. They generated through blitz, which Steelers will have to be on top of. But there's some stats in there, too, just even about blitz. The Ravens are either first or second in terms of blitz percentage that defenses throw at them. You wouldn't think anybody blitzes Lamar, but the Steelers blitz him more than anybody, and they kind of started that blueprint.
Yes.
And it's worked really well.
37.7% of the time, highest rate in the league, the Ravens' offense is blitzed.
Yes. Now, a couple notes here is you would think, and that was the original thought when he came in the league, I can't blitz that guy because most teams play man coverage.
Because he'll make one guy miss.
Makes one guy miss. And
green grass and high tides forever.
Exactly. I'm turning my back to Lamar Jackson and playing man coverage and sending 5 or 6 people at him. He makes one miss. He's going to take it to the house. hasn't really worked that way. And more teams now zone blitz or have a spy or whatever.
Sure.
But the Steelers also blitz him to just kind of constrict the pocket too. And he's gotten better from the pocket, but that's still asking a lot. And as great as he is, he's not the microprocessor that Rodgers is, which is why the Steelers aren't getting blitzed, because it doesn't
lowest rate in the league.
Because it doesn't, so you don't get home. Why send 6 guys if none of them are going to get home if the ball's coming out in 2.4 anyway?
The only team that has blitzed less in the NFL at a lower rate is San Francisco.
Okay, yeah.
And that's because they'll go boop, 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 boop right down the field on you.
Yeah, they have every answer for every blitz too.
Whereas for the Steelers, it's the processing of Aaron Rodgers from the neck up. Let's get to a break here. Might get to some more of these Matt stats today. I might save some for tomorrow, but we have got plenty more to get to as we roll along. We're going to pick a player to steal from the Baltimore Ravens when we return. I'm actually very interested to see how this plays out.
Yeah. Can't remember who we did last time.
I don't know if we did Baltimore last.
Okay.
I think we might have forgotten that week, or
was it a short week or something weird?
Short week or something weird. It wouldn't have been a holiday week, I don't think.
They don't have one that jumps off the page. Well, we'll talk about it.
Was that game Thanksgiving weekend, so we would have missed a couple shows that week? I don't know. We'll talk about it on the other side regardless. When we return here on The Drive. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Down the home stretch here on this New Year special edition of The Drive on the Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt, it's time for I enjoy this conversation every week.
Yeah.
Kind of put our feet up and just play armchair GM for a few minutes.
Fun to think through, yeah.
And I think, the majority of our listeners here are like regulars, and they've probably heard us get to this exercise before, but it is a new year. Maybe we're picking up some new listeners along the way. It's quite simple. We take a look at the Steelers' upcoming opponent. We go through their roster, and we say who is the one player that we would like to steal from that roster to add to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
Couple caveats. No quarterbacks.
You take Lamar.
Too easy, it's cheating. You'd take Justin Herbert. You'd take Drake May. You'd take Joe Burrow. I mean,
of course.
Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Josh Allen. I'm trying to think of Cleveland might be one of the few teams where we wouldn't take the quarterback.
Right.
Indy might have been one of the few teams where we wouldn't have taken the quarterback, but it would be 80% of the time probably we'd be taking the quarterback. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is you are getting this person for their contract.
Oh, what they cost.
What their age is now, all that stuff.
This is for the rest of their career. You're just inheriting.
Or at least for the rest of their contract.
You're inheriting their current situation.
So there are obviously some very viable candidates on Baltimore. You could convince me that, hey, it's Derrick Henry because just who cares how much longer you have him.
2 years of that would be pretty nice.
2 years of that would be pretty nice. We could talk about some of the bigger names on defense like Roquan Smith or Kyle Hamilton. Are they necessarily at positions of need versus just how good those guys are? There's a lot to consider here. I would like to know where you're leaning and what you're thinking.
All right, here's my thought process. Henry would be sure fun. And if you thought that's the difference between winning the Super Bowl this year or next year or not,
totally,
I would get that. But I don't think that's enough for me to say all of a sudden you're a Super Bowl favorite. So I'm going to say no because of age. And running backs are almost rarely going to be my choice. Linderbaum's a really good center, but I'm not moving him to guard or Frazier to guard.
And he's about to get a massive payday.
That's actually a fun offseason conversation. They're going to have a hard time keeping him.
Yes.
He's going to be really expensive.
I need him to go sign with an NFC team so Zach Frazier can start making Pro Bowls.
There you go. and I actually prefer Frazier. If I had to pick between the two on game day, I would rather have Frazier.
I like to hear that.
Stanley's a left tackle, and that's always going to carry a lot of weight. But he ain't what he used to be, and he's making some money as well. He's got a chronic angle situation, so no. They have 2 tight ends that are useful, but
a little long. Not likely. Likely's not long in the tooth.
Andrews is long in the tooth, and is DeGrasse, and I'm not sure why they gave him an extension. Likely's best days might be ahead of him, but I'm fine there. Yeah, I mean, are they that much better than what you got? And maybe not, but they'd be in the mix.
Sure.
Zay Flowers is very interesting.
He might be my answer.
He's so different than Metcalf.
He'd be a very nice number 2 next to Metcalf.
He's a Pro Bowler this year. I thought that was a bit of a reach, but I didn't know this till I saw Rob yesterday. Rob mentioned that he's been their leading receiver in every game but 2 this year, and they lost both those. He's smaller though. I mean, He's not the prototype, but he's really good with the ball in his hands. He would really solve your number 2 receiver situation, and instead of like solving it. So you and I should have had this conversation a million times, but I guess in week 1, Tom took over as the pregame show guy.
Yes.
And I guess in week 1, I said something along the lines of, we hadn't even seen the Steelers play yet. It's going into the Jets. And we were talking about different position groups. And I said something like, I don't want to just survive at this position group. I want to thrive. So he liked that. So that comes up a lot in the morning. Like
you took the Jack Nicklaus Departed and kind of repurposed it
a little bit there, But like instead of surviving at wide receiver, you'd thrive. You'd have Metcalf and Flowers, and then everybody would fall into place as your 3s. And this week would be a lot better. With Metcalf sidelined, if you had Flowers. So he might be the answer. The answer would have been Matabuke.
I think so, if he's healthy.
But his career's in jeopardy. I mean, there's no way you could say that. I mean, no way. I really like their nose tackle, Jones, because the fun thing about this exercise, too, is it also previews the game. Like, not everyone knows who Jones is.
Yeah.
Right. They just extended Jones.
I was going to say, he's at that point where his rookie contract's up, but he's not demanding a massive amount of money.
No, he just got a new deal.
Good player.
He's a really good player. He's much more of a nose. And
you could use a true nose on this defense.
He's young. I loved him coming out of UConn. He would be exactly what I'm looking for if I were to go in free agency and add one more D lineman at a reasonable cost. I mean, we're not getting Aaron Donald,
Sure.
And then Benton moves over to end, and a lot of things fall into place nicely with Jones. But he's also not special, like that. You pick the nose tackle that's going to be out there for 40% of snaps.
Sure. Probably never going to be an All-Pro.
Right.
Yeah.
Wiggins hasn't played great lately.
That was going to be my next question. Was they've got a trio of corners that could be interesting.
And Wiggins, I think, has a really bright future, but he struggled the last couple of weeks a lot. And as Chris mentioned, now that they're playing more zone, he's more of a man guy. But I want him to be a man guy. Him and Porter on the outside forever with their length and all that stuff would be really appealing. And he's on a rookie deal, so I like that. Humphrey's starting to get a little too old for me to be in that market, but he's a really good career.
I think so.
Yeah.
He's like if this exercise was you're getting one of these guys for the rest of the year, the answer is Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
But Humphrey might be number 2, if that was the way of framing the conversation.
Because, I mean, he's like the better Eccles where he's slot, he's outside.
He's very versatile.
Yeah, all those things. Speaking of versatility, most people would take Hamilton. Just in terms of...
He's a little same shoe as Deshaun Elliott.
I know.
But that's okay. I mean,
that's okay. You'd make it work. You'd play big nickel, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Could you imagine Jalen Ramsey and Kyle Hamilton as your safety tandem next year?
Right. It's like, that's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some stuff in Matt's stats about Hamilton where he's really aligning in the box a lot since that Gilman trade. And not coincidentally, their yards per play, things like that have all gotten way better. So if you didn't have anyone in place, if you're an expansion team, he's probably my pick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like just one, a Madden draft style. Like I'm starting with a blank slate.
All my needs are equal.
I'm with you on that.
But I think I'd go with Flowers.
My answer is Zay Flowers.
Okay.
The corners are tempting.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Matabuike, if he's healthy, obviously. Kyle Hamilton is maybe the best safety in football.
I bet some really smart football people would be like, you're dumb to take Hamilton.
Yeah, right.
And I
why
understand
you guys are
that.
overthinking this?
You're overthinking it. Like we took Myles Garrett.
Right. But this is just and maybe it's recency bias is a real thing with these conversations.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe it's just coming off of that no playmakers at wide receiver performance that we just witnessed for 60 minutes in Cleveland.
Said that because I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, am I stuck in just the moment here?
Maybe. But that's okay.
But that it was really bad.
That we've been talking about that same moment for 2 years now.
And we saw it when Pickens got hurt last year, too. I'm sick of seeing this.
Unless you invest a first or second round pick or a big money free agency contract, guess what? Sorry, I pounded the table and knocked Matt's Mike over again. Mike's Matt over again. I mean, Matt's Mike over again. I'm trying to solve that problem. I'm tired of spinning my wheels in that regard.
You'd be done.
He's 25 years old.
Yeah.
You've still got him on his rookie deal for another year.
Is it another year? I was trying to figure that out, too.
He'd be in his prime for 5 more
And then you
seasons.
pick up his fifth-year bonus. Or fifth-year option.
And I don't think, you're going to have to pay him, but he's not going to be a DK Metcalf $30 million a year guy. Like, you maybe?
Over 25. I mean, he's a Pro Bowler.
He is.
But he would also stagger. I mean, their ages are staggered a little bit there, too. You know?
Like, you could get him for the Jacoby Myers contract.
More?
Yeah?
Yeah? Not crazy more, but somewhere in that neighborhood.
I'm still like
but I'm fine with that. I got money
for a guy who's 26.
Yeah.
Like it's a different conversation if he's 29 or 30.
Right.
But he's not going to turn 26 until next season.
Because then,
he's
even like
now.
year 3 of that contract, Metcalf probably still isn't making money. You know, I mean, these guys don't last that long. You know, you could stagger it.
Maybe we are a prisoner of the moment, but I'm going.
But
with Zay Flowers.
You beat the Browns with Zay Flowers.
Yes.
Do you beat them with Hamilton?
No.
Unless he makes some crazy play, right? Yeah, right.
He takes a pick six to the
house. He would have been helpful. Don't get me wrong.
That's asking a lot.
Right.
That's asking a lot. Maybe if he's Kyle Duggar, he pulls that thing down and takes it back to that.
Right.
You know, whatever.
Obviously, he would help. It'd been nice to have him. Don't get me wrong, but I think you win the game with Flowers.
If the question becomes who do you take off Baltimore that you don't want to face this weekend?
Oh, Hamilton's high on the list.
It's Henry and Hamilton.
Yeah.
But from this standpoint, when you're looking at the Steelers' front yard and you got to add to the landscaping, I want that 25-year-old wide receiver. I think that's going to fit very nicely next to DK Metcalf for a handful of years.
You let Austin walk. You know, I mean, you might do those things anyways. You're not worried about Thielen or MVS. I'm just thinking like big picture planning. You know, who knows with Roman.
I'm with you. Matt, more breaking news here.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson just spoke post-practice in Baltimore, said, and I quote, or was asked whether he's playing Sunday night, said, and I quote, 100%.
Not sure. He's practicing full 2 days in a row.
So there you go.
But there you go.
The writing was on the wall, but now we don't have to speculate anymore. Lamar Jackson, 100% when asked if he's going to go on Sunday night. When we come back on the other side, we'll have our final segment here, a little college football conversation. We'll cross some T's and dot some I's before we get up out of here on this Thursday evening. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, it is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Final segment here on this Thursday of The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt, with our time difference here, I did want to talk a little college football playoff with you.
Absolutely.
Time difference in terms of like where we're at right now, the Texas Tech and Oregon game is wrapping up and Oregon is moving on, which means that now in the, I guess, 1.5 year history, but in the second year here of the college football playoff in this 12-team format, Texas Tech will become 0-6 teams with the first round bye.
That's nuts.
So all 4 last year lost their first game.
Yeah.
So far
now
this
we're
year, Ohio State last night, Texas Tech today. 0-6 teams with the first round bye. That's
now that could
nuts.
Get snapped in a minute, but still 0-6 is crazy no matter what.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And I think it's because
they have really long breaks.
You're asking these teams to take a month off.
Yeah.
You know?
As opposed to 3 weeks, though. I mean,
that's my thing is, okay, so
I mean, I guess if you played
Oregon got to stay home last week and comfortably beat JMU.
But still, you're going out there.
I think that makes a difference compared to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
You know, it's a home game, too, so you get to stay on campus in your facilities. And
some of these teams are in their conference championships, too, which extends their season.
Right.
You know.
So, like, I think the one that will be really telling in this is I'm interested to see how this looks like from the Indiana.
I'd say they're the one that seems like the most noticeable.
Because Indiana played in a conference championship game, but so did Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama had the 1 week last week, tough game on the road in Norman, hostile environment.
Right.
To get ready,
take something out of you,
get ready for the Rose Bowl today. So Indiana's the real kicker for me because I think Georgia is definitely going to win. They're playing Ole Miss, and hey, Ole Miss is talented. Ole Miss is good, but again, it's half their team is looking for their next opportunity.
Yeah, they're getting Ole Miss at a good time.
A lot of the coaching staff is 1 foot in Baton Rouge, 1 foot still at it's not a full normal situation.
They don't look as scary as at their height of their powers,
yes.
right? Okay.
But I'm very, very interested to see what Indiana looks like with Alabama having played last week. And
the most shocking ones last night.
Yes.
I mean, of all the upsets of those 6, is that the biggest one?
And if you just ask Vegas, yes.
Okay.
They were the biggest touchdown underdog, which isn't a massive number, but still Miami was a touchdown underdog. And so much of that result ended up being the early 14-0 start that Miami had.
They jumped on them early,
to kind of ride that until the very end when they scored to go up 10 at the end and put it away with just like a minute left. But yeah, Ohio State looked rusty out of the gate. Miami was ready to play. And yeah, that's only
Ohio State's second half was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
But that's only the first quarter. You can't win a game in the first quarter, but maybe Ohio State lost it there.
Got Bo Jackson going. You were talking about Bo Jackson in the in between segments.
That's a good stat pull from TV that Jim Harbaugh has more rush yards in his NFL career. Jim Harbaugh has more rush yards in his NFL career than Bo Jackson.
Yeah, and he was saying that they even asked John Harbaugh, which NFL coach has more rushing yards than Bo?
And he was like, wait, is it Jim?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be how many coaches in the NFL
even
play in the NFL?
Right.
And then you have someone like Vrabel, who was a defensive guy, so it obviously wasn't him.
We would have figured it out, actually, because there's
none
who else would
list.
have even had carries. Yeah.
But that is funny. But last night, yes, I know you watched some of that game. Did you have any thoughts on either of the quarterbacks, who are obviously two of the big names? Julian Sayin, who won't be draft eligible till next year, but is already at the forefront of that conversation.
Well, Beck's the one we need to talk about.
And Carson Beck, who he's the one we need to talk about.
Take it away, dude.
I told you, was it probably 2 months ago at this point? After Miami lost to SMU, and their offense was putrid, and Carson Beck was putrid, and he went to his post-game press conference and blamed the coaching staff and the play calls.
Yeah.
And that's not the first time he's done that in his career after a poor performance. He did it at Georgia. He's done it once or twice at Miami. And I was like, I'm out on this guy. He's 6'5". He's athletic. He's got the arm. But there's just something that's not clicking for him, something that doesn't clock in between. Where the brain is supposed to be, he's missing something.
Yeah. The leadership stuff.
The leadership stuff, the intelligence quota stuff. I'm out on this guy. And I think I said to you guys, he's going to have some moments the rest of the season where it'll be like, wow, there it is. I'm not buying into it, all right? I'm not doing it.
But you didn't think they were going to be against that Ohio State defense looking as good as he did.
I'm not a cigarette guy. You guys know this. I think in my entire life I've maybe smoked 2 cigarettes, and I'm gonna be 35 years old here soon. But like Carson Beck is like cigarettes to me for some people. Like as soon as I think I'm done and I've quit, there's that nicotine sitting on the shelf tempting me. I said this to TV when I walked in here today. I was the first one in here. TV shortly after me. I was like, dude, I think Carson Beck might be a first-round pick. And he was like, oh, come on. But you see it, the arm, the athleticism, the size.
He's going to be talked about with the Steelers' first-round pick and some mocks.
And
I think right or wrong. I mean, that's coming, folks.
I am first guy at the forefront of wins are not a quarterback stat. Don't talk to me about how many games a quarterback has won or not won, or that used to be something with the diehard Kenny Pickett people. But yeah, he's 14-9 as a starter.
Right.
I don't care what his starting record is. Paul Skeens just won the Cy Young with a losing record as a starter. It obviously matters. It's a factor in the equation. But if it's one of the first couple things that you're talking about with a quarterback, you're losing me already.
Yeah.
Carson Beck is, and I understand he was at Georgia and Miami, 2 perennial programs. He's 15-3 against ranked teams in his career.
He beats the good teams, though.
I mean, I'm
the real good teams, right?
Again, this analogy.
And he's beaten Bama, I'm sure, and yeah.
This analogy would land better if I was a cigarette smoker. But he's like that nicotine on the shelf that I thought I quit, but now I'm looking at it and I might want one last drag.
Is he definitely in this draft?
Yes,
I thought so.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's coming out. I mean, he's got to be in the conversation for QB 2 or 3, depending on more. I mean, there's not much to argue with.
That's part of what I was saying to TV, too. Like, if Fernando Mendoza's the nailed-on #1 pick to the Raiders.
Even if he's terrible by the time people listen to this, he's going to be...
Yes.
He can't hurt himself.
Even if he struggles against Alabama, I think he's still going to be the #1 pick. there's just, like we talked about, for an organization like the Raiders too, like there just seems like such a high floor there.
Yeah,
maybe he's not a future Hall of Famer and a perennial All-Pro, but it seems like there's so little bust potential. Like at worst, he's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's not a total crapshoot.
Yes,
you know, right.
Dante Moore goes 4th or 5th or somewhere in that top 5 range too.
There's a lot of quarterback needy teams.
That's what I said. I was like, is there only going to be 2 quarterbacks taken in the first round? I don't think so. That so rarely happens.
Right.
To me right now, and so many things will change.
Like we didn't think Bo Nix was going 13th or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
Correct.
That's how this works.
That's exactly how this works.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people didn't know if Jackson Dart would work his way into the first round.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it might come to draft day, like the Steelers won.
Mac Jones went a lot higher than people thought he was going to. J.J. McCarthy went higher than people thought he was going to. I think Carson Beck's that 3rd name now that is that guy. Lot can change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sawyer Robinson's going to throw his name in that ring.
That's the one I'm super excited about.
Green's going to throw his name in that ring.
Yeah.
If Ty Simpson ends up declaring for the draft, the Alabama quarterback, say he has a massive game today against Indiana, and even if they lose a close one, he ends up declaring.
Put some real good tape out to finish.
But I think Carson Beck could be that QB3 by the time.
When we're mocking it and stuff late in the draft process, it wouldn't shock me, right or wrong. It's just how this works, folks. Steelers want Beck. They're going to have to trade up 8 spots. I mean, it could get to that point, let alone would you even take him in the first round? Because like initially I heard you guys kind of having that conversation when I came in, and I was thinking to myself, that guy screams the early second round.
Totally. The Tyler Shuck.
The Shuck Carr. I mean, there's so many of those where they got a ward or 2, but they could be a pro. Most of those guys miss. Hurts. You know, a lot of the early second round guys. A lot of those guys go to better. You're a bad team. You don't take one in the first round, but you take one in the second round. You know, like the Saints did.
And I am at a point now, Matt, where if you did that, and I know you do this sometimes, and I love it. Like the genie in the bottle comes to you and says, right now, you could keep the Steelers' 2nd round pick. Because I wouldn't do it with the first. I'm not there yet. And because I'm admittedly being a little knee jerk from last night. And I realize some people probably look at it too and be like, he only threw for 138 yards. You're really salivating. But against that defense, he also
had traits are obvious.
He also had
traits,
20.
You have to have traits for this conversation.
Some big first downs with his legs. And he's 6'5". He's got the arm. He's got the athleticism. He's thick.
Size is a trait. I mean, yeah.
If you said to me right now, would you swap the Steelers' 2nd round pick for Carson Beck? I'd really consider it. I think
the answer is yes.
I probably I still would, to be fair, with Sawyer Robinson and Taylor Green and those guys too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the answer would be yes.
Especially because you got a lot of picks. You might be buying a Benz that's $100,000 for $60,000 today.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're probably not buying
a house in Nashville before Nashville housing market goes crazy.
Right.
You know?
I mean, obviously the world doesn't work that way. That we don't have the genie and sitting here in the bottle. But if they come out and be like, I will take your 2nd round pick for Carson Beck. All right.
I think I would have said all right for Sawyer Robinson and Taylor Green.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd throw Carson Beck.
Okay.
I can't believe I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
now it'd be nice. We don't get this luxury. I'd love to sit down and have dinner with him and have him in the facility for the day. And he may leave the facility like, get out.
That guy's an airhead. No chance. I wouldn't trade my 6th round pick for him.
Take him to the airport. I cannot spend the next 10 years with that dude. Who knows? You know, but that's true for all these guys.
Great point.
Right.
Great point.
Especially a quarterback.
But like I said, right now, like I'm like the Marlboro man, and I've been clean for a few months.
Yeah. You're right.
He's looking at me through that packaging and tempting me to light up one last time.
Devil on your shoulder.
That'll do it for the show today. Tomorrow on Friday, maybe we'll have a little recap of some of these college football games, but obviously we will be dead set on Steelers, Ravens, 2 dogs, 1 bone, Sunday.
Second straight day, Josh Allen didn't practice either.
Oh, boy.
I would sit him.
Did you see Jordan Love got cleared, but they're going to shut him down for the week, which
Herbert got
shut
down. You know,
I think that's, when you don't really have much to play for in Week 18, keep your eyes on the prize. Thanks to Chris Halicke for joining us today. A big shout out to our 2 producers, Nathan on the audio side, TV, Mr. Tyler V, keeping us handsome on the video side. For Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody, and we will talk to you tomorrow. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. It's Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.